Hi, hello, thank you. Good afternoon. So, everyone, thank you for joining us. My name is Aracelia Tamariz. As David mentioned, I am the head of life sciences here in Strata. And first, I want to apologize for my voice. I have a bit of a cold. But over the next few minutes, we'll be looking at the key updates for the European Innovation in the 2026 work program. And my focus, as David mentioned, will be in the first in two programs. So the first is the EIC Advanced Innovation Challenges, also known as EICs, and the second is the latest updates in the EIC Pathfinder. Next, please. So let's begin with the most significant new development in the 2026 work program, the EIC Advanced Innovation Challenges. So this is a new experimental funding instrument that is being introduced for next year. It pilots the ARPA-style mechanisms to support breakthrough innovation through structure and stage processes. The AICs are specifically designed to bridge the Death Valley. That is a critical gap where high-risk deep tech innovation often dies due to a lack of commercial traction despite extensive research. Next slide, please. So, what is the strategic thinking behind the AICs? Well, the AICs focus on four objectives. So the first is to bring forward technology from under-commercialized research fields. The second is to provide dedicated support for high-risk deep tech innovation that has strong commercial potential. Third is to ensure market relevance by encouraging demand-side integration. So this means that users are involved from the very beginning. And finally, to maximize the impact and the probability of breakthrough innovation by using a portfolio balance selection projects. So next slide, please. The program is run by four core principles inspired by the DARPA model that is from the US. So it is a program manager-driven approach. So each challenge is guided by a dedicated EIC program manager who ensures strategic coherence across all the projects. Then it uses a stage-gated funding model, which reduces risk by testing concepts at an initial phase before committing to major investments in prototyping. Then the selection is portfolio-based, so it means that it aims to build a diverse and strategically coherent set of projects, rather than just picking the highest scoring proposals. And then, there is a strong focus, as I mentioned, on the demand-side integration. So commercial or end users must be involved from the beginning to validate use cases and enhance market relevance. Next slide, please. So the program is divided into two stages. Obviously, at the beginning, we have stage one, that is the solutions design phase. So the goal here is to prepare and benchmark the solution, exploring its viability and assessing both technical and commercial feasibility. You can receive up to 300K in lump sum, and it covers 100% of eligible cost. The duration should be a maximum of 9 months, in which you will be required to participate in mandatory workshops with experts and end users. And a total of 4 million euro will be allocated for stage one projects in 2026. Next slide, please. So after you have successfully completed stage one, then you can go to stage two, that is prototyping and user testing. So this call is restricted only to stage one beneficiaries. And the objective of this stage is to develop a functional prototype and test it in a real-world environment with users. So the funding here will be a lump sum of up to 2.5 million euros with a project duration of 2.5 years. The indicative budget will be 25 million, and it will be allocated in 2027. And if you are a stage 2, you will gain access to the EIC's BAS services, so the Business Acceleration Services. Next slide, thank you. So now the important question, so who can apply? Is it for you? Well, your project needs to fulfill a couple of things. On the technology side, your project must be an early TRL4. So this means your proof of concept should be completed and the core technology has been validated in a lab environment. Next slide. Also, the instrument for these innovations, going back to the previous slide, sorry. So the aim for this instrument is innovations that are past the basic research and are ready for some feasibility work and validation. So now, in terms of who can apply, so you have two options here. So you can apply as a single applicant. So this program is open to startups, SMEs, or research performing organizations, meaning universities or research teams. So in here, we should note that large companies are not eligible to apply as a single entity. So for this part, they cannot apply, large companies, but they can apply as a small consortium. So a small consortium will be up to 3 eligible independent entities. And in here, as a whole, the program offers flexibility to evolve the team between the stages, from stage 1 and stage 2, and also allows you to add new members for stage 2 if needed. And if it's a small consortium, you even could add new partners. So the stage 1 proposal is quite straightforward with a maximum of 10 pages. And next slide. And it will be evaluated against 3 criteria. So the first one is excellence, which is 60% of the score. And this looks at the clarity, novelty, and breakthrough nature of your idea. Then we have the impact that is weighted at 20%. And this assesses the potential for wider adoption and attractiveness for investors or for industry partners. And then you have the quality and efficiency of implementation, also at 20%. And this covers how real is your work plan and the capacity of your team to implement that plan. Here we must note that all proposals must pass the thresholds for each criteria to even be considered by the portfolio selection panel. So you submit the proposal, it gets reviewed by reviewers, and then the selection panels or EIC managers will select the portfolio that they want to work with. Next slide, please. So for 2026, it will be a pilot run, and this program will be focused on 2 specific deep tech areas. The first one will be disruptive AI, that will be focusing on robotics with applications in civil security, autonomous labs, and personal assistance. And the second one is new approach methodologies, which aims to reduce animal use in biomedical testing through technologies like organized on a chip or digital twins, also imaging. For both topics, you need to demonstrate end user commitment, as I mentioned, is very important. And for example, you could attach letters of support, letters of intent. Next slide, please. So in terms of timeline, how does it look like? Well, stage 1 call will open in a month, in November 15th. And then the submission deadline is expected to be in April 2026. After that, the review will take around 5 weeks approximately, where you will have a decision, and the project should start before the 1st of October of 2026. So this is a hard deadline for the project to start. Again, and it should be a 9-month project. Next slide, please. Okay, so we finished the innovation challenges, and now we can focus a bit more on the Pathfinder. That is still a cornerstone, for the EIC funding in early stage for breakthrough science and technology. So the Pathfinder is dedicated to advanced research aimed at developing a scientific basis for future breakthrough technologies. It supports the early stages of deep tech R&D. The main goal for the projects is to achieve proof of principle and validate the scientific basis of the new technology, typically aiming at reaching TRL 3 or 4 by the end of the project. And it is 100% grant, so no need to have a co-funding needed. And next. So here are the main features of the Pathfinder, or the key things. So first, as I mentioned before, it covers early research, so from TRL 3 to 3-4. You have two pathways. So you have the challenges, that the challenges gives you up to 4 million euro. And then you have the open call, that it's more for more wide innovation. We will see next, and you will receive 100% funding rate for eligible cost, paid as a lump sum. Now, something extra to note is that successful projects also are eligible for EIC booster grants. There are grants that give you up to 50K to explore other commercialization pathways. Next slide, please. So, as I mentioned, there are two ways to apply for a Pathfinder. You have the challenges and the open call. So the challenges this year are 4, and they are defined by the EIC priorities. And this year, the first one is advanced materials for miniaturized energy harvesting systems. The second is biotechnology for healthy aging. The third one is a new approach methodology, which aligns with the advanced innovation challenges that we saw a few slides ago. And then the fourth is a deep wrap that is focused on deep reasoning, abstraction, and planning for trustworthy cognitive AI systems. Next slide, please. So I talked now which are the challenges, but I think it's good to understand what are the key differences between the open, Pathfinder, and the challenges. So first, you have the Pathfinder Open. That is a bottom-up approach where you can submit ideas in any field of science. So it's quite open. Its 2026 budget is 166 million, but applicants are restricted to apply in a consortium of at least 3 entities. And then on the other side, you have the EIC Pathfinder challenges, which I just mentioned. There are 4. And this part of the Pathfinder addresses specific top-down topics by the EIC priorities, and they're overseen by a program manager by the EIC. For this part of the Pathfinder, the budget is 96 million. And in this case, the call is a bit more flexible. So you could apply as a single entity or as a consortia with a minimum of 2 eligible entities. But even if you can apply as a single entity, we always advise to apply as a consortium because those are stronger. Next slide, please. And finally, how you're getting scored. So let's look at the evaluation criteria. Proposals are scored based on 3 pillars, very similar to the advanced innovation challenges. So the first one is excellent, that here, as the innovation challenges, carries the most weight. In here is 50%. And to pass, you need a threshold of 4 out of 5. The impact is weighted at 30% with a threshold of 3.5 out of 5. And then as a third one, you have the quality and efficiency of implementation that makes a final 20% with a threshold of 3 out of 5. So this step one, it will be a step that all proposals, open and challenges go through. But if you apply through a challenge, as I mentioned before, then there's portfolio consideration. So for challenge, there's a step two, an additional step where an evaluation committee applies the portfolio considerations and they build a strong portfolio of the projects that will get funded for that call. So from my part, that will be it, the Advanced Innovation Challenges and the Pathfinder. Thank you for your time. And now I hand it over to David to cover the next programs.